Hi everyone, this is Eric Ringer um, for Mobile Player Experience, and I'm going over my two games that I downloaded, Lab or Rats and Monopoly Bingo, and for my game Heuristics. So the first game was Lab or Rats. So let me go ahead and open that game up right here. So here's a game. It's like a battle card game. So it is loading. So the audio-visual representation supports the game. As you can see, it's loading up. So it has like a little kind of maze building that you go through, and it has different levels. So the screen layout is effective and visual pleasing. The device UI and game UI are used for its own purpose. I think the severity rating was 0. Indicators are visible. Um, so yeah, all the icons are visible. The only icon is the one up here that doesn't do anything if you press on it. So I'm not sure. But other than that, everything else is fine. The player understands the terminology. Yeah, so if you, let's see, you can click on a battle, a challenge, and you get these little cards. So that's and then each different opponent that you play kind of goes into its own, and then you can have dirty tricks. Let's play, and then the game's loading. So basically, it's pretty straightforward. So you play cards, and then the object is to capture the other opponent's mouse or rat. And so I'm green and the opponent's red. So right now it's 6-4. So he just made it 5-5. So, and then it has the game controls are flexible, convenient and flexible. Navigation is consistent, logical, and minimalist, as you're just kind of dragging and sliding over things. Let's do that one. And then it tells you like the different rat characters. The game gives feedback. It doesn't like necessarily. What did I say? It says it gave feedback in the beginning. It was like really good about giving feedback, and then as you can see now, it doesn't really give too much feedback. I think like helpful tips, maybe. You know, if a player gets stuck, you know, or different strategy tips, I think would be helpful in the game. Cannot make reversible errors. Yeah, there's no, it's pretty straightforward as far as the errors. Does not have to memorize things unnecessary. Yeah, it doesn't. The game contains help. It does, so every time you beat a level, you get a new rat, and then you can't connect to Facebook. But there is no, like if you go into the settings, there's no help. There's no, so I think adding a help screen or just to go over, it did have a good introduction, but just to go over that you weren't, if you get stuck on like the harder levels, because the levels are pretty easy in the beginning and then they do start to get harder. The game play and sessions can be started and stopped. Yes, that is true. And the game converts the device settings and surroundings. It does a good job there. It does handle interruptions. If you're in the middle of a game and someone calls you, it stops it and pauses it. But then when you end the call, it doesn't reopen the app automatically. You have to go back into the app. So that's why I gave it kind of cosmetic. So if you're able to do that, I think it would be better. And then for the game provides clear goals and supports player-created goals. Yes, the player sees game progress and can compare the results. There's none. And then the object, you get new rats every time you beat a level, but you don't get pills. You have to play online against online people to play pills. I think you should be able to during this where you should be able to get pills and you shouldn't, because if you don't have an internet connection, then you can't get pills. The player is in control. Yeah, so challenge strategy and pace are in balance. Yeah, I think as you get to higher levels, it gets more challenging. The first player time experience is encouraging. Yes, the game story supports the gameplay and it's meaningful. There's no boring or repetitive tasks. The players can express themselves. Well, not really, but I mean, I guess you can, because you can adjust your different rat collection, I guess, card collection. So you have you earn different cards, and then you can kind of switch these out, and then make them, and it randomly selects, I think, 5 out of that your 9. And the game is consistent. The game uses orthogonal unit differentiations. Yes. The player does not lose any hard-earned possessions. No. The game supports communication. It does have an online play, but there's no chat. I think adding chat would be good. And then, let's see, you can find an opponent. And then this was where it would crash. It would do waiting for an opponent, and then sometimes it would crash. So that, and then it does do a message that the opponent was found, but then this was where it crashed. You don't really know if it gets stuck here what it's doing. So that was that's why I gave it cosmetic. And then it supports groups and communities now, and it has a definitive behavior, yes, and the design hides the networks. That's true. So let's move on to the next game, which would be excuse me, Monopoly Bingo, which I'm going to bring up here. So Monopoly Bingo. Audio, visual, and representation supports the game. Yes, screen layout is effective and very pleasing. Yes, indicators are visible. The player understands the terminology. It's a different twist on basic bingo and Monopoly mixed together, so it's kind of cool. Navigation is consistent, logical, and minimalist. Control keys are consistent and follow standards. So both these games, actually, you can log onto Facebook, and I think it kind of opens it up. So here it is. You get it's like a Monopoly board, so there's buildings and stuff, and then you can get tickets and coins. Player gives them feedback on the actions. One thing that it does, but then if you're not paying attention, so let's pick a card. If you're not paying attention, you can accidentally select the wrong number and then not realize it. So I did that for error. It's not an irreversible error, so look, I could hit like all these, and then you know, you can take them away. But if you're not paying attention, or you you know, I just think it shouldn't allow you to do that. You should only be able to pick the numbers that get called. The game does contain a help. The gameplay session can be started. That's true. It does, and it's the same thing. It pauses the game, but when you it does that, it can be started, and then it handles interruptions with phone calls and texts. So over here, the players are rewarded and meaningful. You get tickets, but I think it's like every 22 hours. I just think that's a long time. And then when the game ends, for the players in control, let's see, I don't know if I'll have enough time to show you the ending. It just stops. It doesn't even give you a chance to pick a number. So if you're one number away from bingo and that number shows up at the end, it just automatically ends the game. So I didn't like that. And then the game does get stagnant because you have to wait for tickets every 22 hours. So if you're playing a lot and you run out of tickets, that's pretty much, you just have to wait. And then that's pretty much it. There's no communication, so these didn't really apply. But overall, both these games, I could see they're really promote in-app purchases, so I could see why people have rated them a little bit lower, because it kind of forces you to buy stuff. So those are my reviews on Monopoly and Labo Rats. Thank you for watching.